Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Kalen DeBoer, Alabama go into the state of Georgia and land not only one of the best players in the state of Georgia, the number one cornerback in the 2026 class, five-star cornerback Jorden Edmonds, committing to Alabama. There's a reason that this kid is a five-star prospect. He is what you call a box checker at the cornerback position. When we're looking at these cornerbacks coming out of high school, we largely look at three things. One, do you have the size? Do you have the length? Jorden Edmonds, 6'3", 180 pounds, really long arms, certainly has the size and length that you're looking for, especially in the SEC. And then the second thing is, hey, do we have the long speed? I mean, these wide receivers, they're big and fast. Can you run with these wide receivers down the football field? Jorden Edmonds certainly has the long speed, but I think my favorite part about this kid's game is what he can do with the football in the air. He's got a basketball background, plays two ways on Friday nights, both as a cornerback and wide receiver. When that football's in the air, he's got wide receiver ball skills. And that is oftentimes the department where a lot of young cornerbacks struggle with. They might be big, they might be fast, but when that football's in the air, can you not panic? Go up and make a play. Jorden Edmonds can do that as well. And so in terms of the boxes that you want to see this kid check, he checks it and then some. That's the reason he's a five-star cornerback. Now I want to get a little bit into the film, but more importantly, talk about what Alabama is doing on the recruiting trail, especially when it comes to the cornerback position, where it is very clear what this program is looking for in the defensive backs. You go back to last cycle with a guy like DeJean, and you look at guys like Jorden Edmonds and a guy like Brandon Arrington, who's a top prospect for Alabama. They want big, fast cornerbacks, and they are normally getting those big, fast cornerbacks. And I'll just say this, the young talent that Alabama is stocking away in the secondary room, like there'll be some noise about the question marks that Alabama has in the secondary. I'll look at the young talent and say, I ain't got many question marks about what Alabama is going to be in the secondary over the next couple of years. Not only are these kids really good football players, in a lot of instances, they are ready to play when they get to the collegiate level. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys. It's going to get really fun, breaking down these commitments, taking a look at how the official visits are starting to set up. The amount of support y'all have been showing as we break down these commitments and talk about what's happening on the recruiting trail, it means the world. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, let's get into Jorden Edmonds. And again, what I would probably stress here is the big question mark was, can Kalen DeBoer recruit when he comes to Alabama? That is no longer a question that I think anybody has. I mean, did a really good job in 2025. And then you look at early in 2026, hey, we're going to go down into the state of Georgia for one of Georgia's top prospects in the state, the best cornerback in the 2026 cycle. We're going to go land him too. And Kalen DeBoer quickly flexing Alabama's muscles on the recruiting trail. And then you get into Jorden Edmonds. And again, to me, it's really hard to find these box checking defensive backs. You'll get some really fast defensive backs. You'll get some big defensive backs. You very rarely find these cornerbacks that check all the boxes that you want. And the last thing I would add to Jorden Edmonds' game is really two things. So he has the long speed, he has the size and length, he has the ball skills. A really fluid kid, easy change of direction, and that's not always the case when you're talking about these bigger, longer cornerbacks. And then lastly, he is not afraid to fire downhill in support in the run game and tackle out on the perimeter. That's becoming a really big storyline for these young defensive backs. I mean, you look at where college football is going on the offensive side of the football, it's speed and space. Hey, we're going to get our playmakers the football in space. And hey, do you have the defensive backs to go run, chase, and tackle? If you cannot tackle out on the perimeter, you're not going to be able to play at a high level, especially in the SEC. Jorden Edmonds on the film shows he's very willing to come downhill and be a sure tackler. You take a look at it. This is, again, one of the more impressive cornerbacks to turn on the tape for, because he just checks all the boxes that you want. And the first thing you're going to see is, one, the size. I mean, this kid is an absolute monster as a boundary cornerback, and he's not afraid to come downhill and come make plays. That's what stands out at first. Then you see the ball skills as a wide receiver, but you're also going to see the ball skills as a boundary cornerback. Now, in this particular instance, this is him working as a boundary wide receiver, going to run basically just a go ball, throw the football up to Jorden Edmonds. He's got wide receiver ball skills. I mean, a guy that is very comfortable turning around, getting his head turned and making plays on the football. Then you see that translate when he's playing out on the boundary as a defensive back as well. This is probably one of the more impressive reps that you are going to see, where I think you're going to get like kind of an out and up here. And we're going to be right in the hip pocket pretty much the whole time. Really clean change of direction. We're going to get our head turned around, find the football, and then go make a play. Like, it's one thing to go up and be in the hip pocket. It's a whole nother thing to go make a play on the football. Jorden Edmonds routinely making the play on the football when it's in the air. There's not really anything that this kid does not do at a high level. Can play press man coverage, has long arms, will get his big, long paws on opposing wide receivers, which you like to see. And you see the movement skills. I mean, we're talking 6'3". And I know this is as a wide receiver here, but this is special stuff from a guy who is as long and as big as Jorden Edmonds is. You take a look at the class for Alabama in 2026, I wouldn't say a slow start. We're kind of just getting started in 2026. And what I would say to the Alabama fans, and I'm sure many of y'all know this, is, yeah, we're sitting here, outside of the top 20, only 4 commitments now into the fold. The amount of talent that Alabama's getting on campus, I'm not too concerned about what they're going to finish as come December, especially with the big year. If Alabama, which is a very well possibility that they're a very good football team in 2025, it's like the Alabama of old. Nothing really changed. I think there were some growing pains maybe for Kalen DeBoer in the 2024 year. You work through those growing pains, put together a really good 2025. The commitments are going to come. And again, the other cornerback you're looking at, you already got 2 really good cornerbacks in this 2026 class, Zion Gibson, now Jorden Edmonds. Brandon Arrington, probably the last name to monitor out in the state of California. Checks all the boxes that Alabama's looking for. 6'2", 180, 10'4" in the 100-meter dash. Legitimately one of the fastest players in the country. Plays both wide receiver and cornerback. Those are the boxes that Alabama's looking to check. We will cut it out there. It's going to be a really fun spring, summer for Alabama, specifically on the recruiting trail. A really good spot they're in, especially when it comes to the secondary in 2026. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later.